You know, what's interesting is that we're having this conversation about you being kind of in the inner circle with Ohio State, not just during the national championship run, but during the season. And it was once a time, let me see what, for 21 years, 22 years, where you weren't
Yes,
involved with the program. Ryan Day brought
correct.
you back into the fold. Let's kind of talk about that a little bit and kind of what it meant to you that he would reach out, kind of when that happened, and what your role is with the university as far as the football program and how Ryan Day kind of integrated you back in.
Yeah, we started it was we started in a funky place. In which you have to take it back to the UConn days, right? So the start of it is that they would actually do a lot with bringing in on Wednesdays, and they used to call them real life Wednesdays, and it would be talking about people who basically went through hardships and things that they had learned and things that they grew from, and they would come in to speak and contribute to the team. Every time I would see this online, I would feel like slighted. I'll say, hey man, I get invited all around the country to do this. It's kind of like a slap in the face to me, at least not even consider for me to have a conversation when most times people are asking me about my days at Ohio State. And so I said, like a kid, sometimes I can be a troll. And so I would I would troll these guys online. And so so the purpose of it was I said, hey, don't think I exist. I'm about to show you, maybe not to you, but to other people I matter, right? And so I would just like borderline troll them and get close to the line where I would just hijack all the lines, right? Because I knew that if Maurice Clarett was dogging Ohio State, that somebody would run with it. And I was intelligent enough to know that they would run with the headlines, right? And so it got to a point, Coach Tressel called me and he said, what are you doing? I said, well, when I talk like a fool, people seem to gravitate towards that. And so I just use it to play online, right? And he said, nah, let's not do that. And he said, we facilitate a conversation with you and Ryan Day. And so actually he went out and talked to Ryan, and then basically Coach Day had basically called me down to the facility. And we got together. He went to Greece with his family. He got together after he came back from Greece. And when we sat down, I'm a person who will go in honesty and I deal in reality. And I didn't want the interaction between me and him to basically be manufactured. So he was, hey bro, sort of like, what's up with you? Like, what's your deal with Ohio State? What's your deal with me? And I told him, I said, man, hey, I don't have an issue with you. And I just told him that, but I wanted a relationship with the university. Sometimes you don't know how to go about asking for stuff. And
Hmm.
sometimes you bang on pots and pans and you make noise because you get people's attention. But I said, I just don't know how to go about doing it. But I want I want a relationship with the university. And so what ended up happening was he actually made me feel embarrassed. After we sat down and talked for maybe 90 minutes, you start to realize that as a person, he's a very, very good individual and a very good man. And so for me as a man, I felt embarrassed reading that the same person I joked and trolled with, and the same sort of I don't know how the same venom that was being spewed to him from me, I used to hate, and that thing actually caused depression for me when people would do it to me. And so when he had talked about all of the criticism and how it had basically been on top of him and his family and how it had affected them, I felt very much like an ass, to be honest with you, that I basically have basically done the same thing to him and his family. And so from there, he was like, "No, man, I don't want the situation to be like that." And actually, he said, "I really called you in here because I got so much criticism from Buckeye Nation after viewing your story, I started to realize why you had your feelings towards Ohio State and the fan base." And he says, man, just seeing where you're at in your life, I actually respect it and I would like to form a relationship with you. And so he made me feel very, very
Hmm.
small. And it was a life lesson inside of that because I'm not sure that I would have that level of humility was criticizing me publicly, right? Or just even have the ability to engage with him the way that he did with me. And so what ended up happening was he said, hey man, how about you come around and you be around the players and just fully start to build this thing. And so every day before practice, every Tuesday, we would meet and I would talk to him one-on-one about things that I've learned from Dan Hurley, things that I've learned in business. And we would start talking about just some of the successes or since I had been around. And then the Tuesday afternoon meetings graduated to me and him having Tuesday dinner after practice. And then it would graduate to text messages. And then it would graduate to him calling me in the morning And just the thing progressed. And initially, I didn't even want to be around on game day because I didn't want to become a distraction to him and what he was going to achieve. But he said, "Hey, man, why don't you come down here and be on the sideline and be around us?" And I think after a while, after he's seen me for an extended period of time, I think that he was like, "Man, I hate to say it, but I actually like this guy, right?"
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so we turned into besties, right? And I was like, "Yo," I was like, "We kind of like buddies now." We joke about it. And so what ended up happening, man, is that we became very close. And actually, the Michigan game actually made us closer. And that's like more of a personal conversation because he had this public adversity, and I went from criticizing him publicly to defending him
Mhm.
publicly. But I had rhyme, reason, specifics as to what he was doing inside that locker room, so I could tell mechanically he had the team where they needed to be. And the national championship game, and I said this the other day on a different platform, but this kind of like solidified like my relationship with them for the game. This was after we did walkthroughs. This is the day of the national championship game. He's like, "Yo, bro, I want to talk to you." And so we sat down in the corner of the hotel. And we were just talking. He was talking about his journey and how he had got to the point and the significance of the stadium and him previously 2 years before that missing the field goal. And it was very, it was almost like God was bringing him back through the journey in his journey and what this had done to his family and what I had meant to the team and all of these great stories within the team. And then he just was like, "Man, I want to get something out before I actually have to go on the field or get in front of somebody else." He talked about his father passing away. And I just thought to myself, I said, "Man, from where we start to be the day before the biggest game of this dude's life at this point, and for him to trust me, emotionally and as a friend, to sit down and share that, and to know that it would have some meaning to me, and that you can somebody you can confide in and lean on." I wanted him to win even more. Man, it just made me emotional. I went back up to my room and I was like, "Man, I really want this dude to win, and just so he can get this burden off of his life, this burden away from his family, and not a burden in a bad way, but just to get over this Hans career." And so to see him get it done, bro, I don't know, made me emotional. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, "Man, I'm really proud of him and happy for him and his wife and everything like that." But we went from we went on the journey, man, just a personal journey, and man, I just have love for him, and I'm happy that he was that door. But more importantly, thanks to Coach Trussell for facilitating that conversation, and so he gets his credit as well.
Check out new episodes of The Jim Jackson Show every Thursday. Watch on The Rich Eisen Show YouTube page. Follow the show on Instagram at Jim Jackson Show, or listen wherever you get your podcasts.